Hey g'day, Duggar here. I'm out on my new patch. It's a new year and I'm about to plant a couple of citrus. I've got a blood orange and a lemon tree over there that I want to get into the ground as soon as possible. Two types of citrus trees here. One's a dwarf Eureka. The other one is a Caracara blood orange, which I've never tried before, so I thought I'd give it a crack. The first thing I've got to do is prep some soil. Now, it's not going to be as simple as digging a hole and plonking my citrus into the ground due to this lovely heavy black soil clay that I've got here. So I'm going to have to do a bit of ground prep to make sure that there's really good drainage, which means I'm going to have to dig a circle around about here and mound it up just a little bit. All right, time to get cracking. Let's go plant some citrus. I've dug a fairly big hole. Where I want this to be sitting is around about there somewhere. So it's got plenty of room underneath for the soil to drain. Now I've just got to go and fill them back in again. I'm going to start with a layer of gypsum across the bottom here. I've got a bit of gypsum here, which is going to really help with breaking up the clay in the soil. The more this clay breaks up at the base, the more the water's going to drain around the citrus and the better off the plant will grow. Just a couple of handfuls in there should be enough. It's time to go get stuck into a few of my favourite things around the garden: compost and manure. This is the mix that I've made up for my citrus. As you can see, it's quite different to the black soil that was there in the first place. This has a lot of sand, bark chips, compost, a bit of manure and some normal garden soil in it. So it should be a really great medium for that citrus to grow in. All right, time to fill up this hole. Okay, I've mounded this up probably about that far above ground level. That should allow ample room for the water to drain through there and not drown the citrus roots. Over time, the main root should get down into the black clay where there's lots of available nutrition, and all the other roots are going to grow around the surface area here in this lovely mix of well-drained compost. Well, that's the plan. Okay, it's time for planting, and the first thing I'm going to do is dig a hole big enough for this container. It's looking like it'll be pretty good. As it's quite windy here, I want to make sure it's got a fairly good base. And to help that out, I'm going to take off the little stake that was on it when I bought it and replace it with a stake that's a bit more appropriate. I'll take that one out and I'll go grab something from the shed. That's looking pretty comfortable in there. And as you can see, it's just a couple of centimetres above the ground level, which should really help the drainage. A few more jobs to do to finish this up. A couple of things over here that I'm going to need. I've got a 1.5 metre stake here, which should be more than enough to see this plant on its way. I'll just knock this into the ground, careful not to damage any of the roots, and give it a few taps with my knockometer. Wind out here predominantly comes from this direction, and the westerlies come in from this direction. So if I tie this fella up here, it should be pretty secure from both of those. mate. I'm planting this lemon. Too bad you were too late to help me dig. That looks pretty secure there, doesn't it, buds? All I've got to do now is water this in with some seaweed solution and stick a bit of mulch over it. I'm also going to chuck a little bit of chicken fertilizer or dynamic lifter around the base of it. It's summer here at the moment, and I've got a couple of months before winter, so it's the perfect time to get this into the ground, get it growing, and let it get its hooks into the black soil here in Cambodia. I'll finish it off by chucking a bit of mulch around. Being careful to keep it away from the main root here, just in case it decides to rot on me. That's probably not as big of a problem here in Cambodia as it is in North Queensland, but I'll just make sure to keep the inner hay away from the root. Just prevents any issues with rot and fungus and moulds. I'll just pop this label on so I don't forget what it is that I'm eating. Well, there you go. That's my first citrus in the ground here in Cambodia. Got one more orange to do, which is pretty much rinse and repeat, and I'm going to throw it in over there. Just to recap really quickly what I've done, I've got quite heavy clay soils here in Cambodia. I have to make sure that I plant this lemon into a mix of compost, manure, garden soil, and a little bit of bark thrown in there to help with drainage. Staked it into the ground to keep it secure from the easterly and westerly winds that we get here. I've watered it in with seaweed solution, applied some organic fertilizer, and put a layer of mulch around the bottom. I think that's about all there is to do. Time to sit back now and wait for this lemon to grow up. Cheers for watching as I plant my first citrus in the ground here at Cambodia. Have a great new year. I'm really excited about the stuff that I'm going to do here over the coming months. So please subscribe to my channel if you feel like it. Chuck us a like if you want to. But please enjoy what I do around here at Duggar's Digs. Have a good one. Happy New Year. Duggar out.